Chapter 3. Things to consider before starting a stretching program. Before you start a stretching program, it's important that you do these things first. Even though it seems like a simple thing to begin stretching regularly, if you are not properly prepared, you have a much higher risk of injury. Preparation will also help you know exactly what you're getting into, so you can stick with the program you decide on. Talk to your doctor. Talking to your doctor about your current health is the most important thing that you can do before starting a stretching program. They will be able to tell you what areas you need to focus on and how often you should stretch to safely improve your health. If you have problems with your bones or heart, they may also start you on medications or supplements. Find a trainer. If you are new to stretching or your doctor recommends that you work with somebody to focus on specific problems, then you will need to find a trainer. For general help with stretching, you may be able to attend classes or find someone through a local gym. However, if you have physical limitations, you may need to find a physical therapist to help you. Find a location. It's best to find a place where you can do your stretching exercises most easily and effectively. You may choose to do this at home, a gym, or your local community center. Since some stretches require some additional equipment, you'll need to make sure you have access to this wherever you are. Many community centers will have small workout centers that are perfect for performing exercises, and they're usually much more affordable than gyms. Get proper clothing. Wearing the right clothing can help you stretch much more easily, but it doesn't have to be anything fancy or too expensive, so don't worry. You simply want to wear clothing that won't restrict your movement in any way. This can be tight-fitting clothes like spandex or yoga pants, but it can also be loose-fitting sweatpants if that's more your style. Get some stretching equipment. You can do many stretches without equipment, but having some basic pieces of equipment will make some stretches easier and safer for your aging body. Stretch bands or resistant bands are great for making many stretches easier and more intense. An incline board provides you with an angled surface for various leg stretches, and a yoga mat is the best way to cushion your body when doing any stretches on the floor. There are also a number of different machines designed specifically for stretching. These are a great way to get started because they force you to do the stretch properly, which helps prevent injury and improve the effectiveness of the stretch. Unfortunately, these are generally fairly expensive, so if you can find a gym that has them, that is generally a better option. Once you have everything ready, the only thing left to do is keep reading to learn more about stretching and get started with stretching every day. Chapter 4. Type of stretches and timing. In this part of the course, we're going to go into the different types of stretches that are done, and which type of stretching will be the best for you and your aging body. We'll also talk about why timing stretches is important and discuss how much time you should be taking for each stretch. Ballistic stretching. If you've ever seen anyone bouncing while stretching, this is ballistic stretching. The idea is that it uses the momentum of your movement to push a joint beyond its normal range of motion. This is one type that you should avoid at all costs, as it can often cause your muscles to get tighter or cause injury. Active stretching. Often used in yoga, this involves bringing your limb into position without any help from props or other limbs and allowing only the muscles in that limb to hold the stretch. This can be extremely difficult, which is why it's rarely held for more than 10 seconds at a time, but it's also great for building muscle. Passive stretching. Like active stretching, passive stretching has you assuming and maintaining a position. However, these stretches are held for a much longer period of time, 1 minute or more, because they use props which allow you to maintain the stretch. These are great for injuries as they don't work the muscles too hard. Isometric stretching. This type of stretching involves using your own strength to push past the passive stretch. You assume a position and then push against a prop or your trainer in some cases to create a deeper stretch on those muscles, which is a great way to engage more of your muscle fibers than passive stretching alone. Dynamic stretching. This is another type of stretching that involves movement, but is safe and beneficial. With dynamic stretching, you perform sets of specific leg and arm movements that allow your joints to gently and naturally extend beyond their previous limits, exercising them and flexing the muscles at the same time. PNF stretching. PNF stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, and it is essentially uses a combination of passive and isometric stretches to provide even better results than one of these techniques alone. Because of the combination of stretches, this is the fastest way to improve flexibility through stretching. Timing of stretches. As we mentioned before, different stretches are held for different amounts of time. This is sometimes related to the difficulty of the stretch, as with active and dynamic stretches, but the effectiveness of the stretch is also a factor. Although an active stretch may only require 10 seconds to be effective, doing a passive stretch for the same amount of time would not produce any results. Since most passive and isometric stretches require at least 1 minute for each of the major muscles, you'll need to make sure that you give yourself plenty of time for each stretching session. Allowing your muscles to stretch for at least a minute each, gives them a chance to gradually stretch out and maintain that position for long enough to impact that muscle for more than a couple of minutes after your session. Chapter 5. Popular stretch training programs and their effectiveness. When it comes to stretch training, there are two types of programs that are most popular: yoga and Pilates. But before you sign up for the next class being offered in your area, we're going to discuss what exactly these stretch training programs are and help you determine how effective they are for you and your aging body. What is yoga? Yoga originated as a spiritual discipline developed by Hindus to combine breathing control, meditation, and different body poses to make spiritual connections. Now, you can find many people who focus only on the health benefits of yoga, which uses both active and passive stretches. What are the advantages of yoga? Some of the advantages to doing yoga regularly include increased strength and flexibility, improved blood flow, can be used as physical therapy for specific problems and stress relief. Although there are certainly some difficult poses, an experienced instructor can help you perform modified versions of these or help you find poses that you can do that give you the same stretch. What are the disadvantages of yoga? First of all, Bikram or hot yoga is something you should avoid because there is evidence that these can be dangerous to your health. But beyond that, the biggest disadvantage to yoga is getting a teacher that pushes you too hard, which can cause you to injure yourself while trying something you shouldn't have been doing in the first place. Bottom line, yoga is a great way to improve strength and flexibility, but you need to make sure you have a good instructor who will help you accomplish your goals and won't put your aging body at risk of injury. What is Pilates? Pilates is a type of exercise that incorporates a mixture of floor exercises and use of specialized machines to improve strength and flexibility. It specially focuses on strengthening your core muscles and primarily uses dynamic and isotonic stretches along with various exercises. What are the advantages of Pilates? Pilates is good for the aging body because it strengthens the muscles, especially the core, which leads to better posture, improves balance, and increases flexibility and range of motion. It can also be easier for beginners and can be easily customized to help target rehabilitating specific injuries. What are the disadvantages of Pilates? Some of the disadvantages of Pilates are that they won't help with weight loss. The movements require a great deal of concentration to perform correctly. Progress is difficult to track, which makes it hard to know how far you've come, and if you do have a specific issue, it can be hard to get the individual attention you need in a classroom setting. Bottom line, Pilates can be a great way to become more flexible and to increase your physical strength, but for people with physical limitations, it can be hard to find an ideal setting in which their concerns can be properly addressed. Final word. Both yoga and Pilates can be useful as a stretch training program for the aging body. But not every person can walk into any yoga or Pilates class, so take your time and find the right one for you if you decide to go on one of these routes. Chapter 6. Common stumbling blocks to stretch training and dangers to be aware of. There are a number of stumbling blocks that can keep people from stretch training as well as a few dangers that you need to be aware of before you begin. First, we're going to look at some of the things that may be keeping you from doing stretch training and show you some simple ways to overcome them. Lack of time. Many people feel that they simply don't have time to do stretch workouts because it does take a while to make sure all of your muscles have been properly stretched. However, if you take a closer look at your schedule, you may find some huge chunks of time while watching TV. Combine this time with your stretch training and you won't get bored doing the stretching, and you can use your TV time wisely. Movement is painful. It can be hard to want to stretch your muscles and move your joints when they hurt. So keep in mind that what you are doing will help eliminate this pain over time. You can also modify most stretches so that they are not painful but are still effective. When you're first starting, be sure not to overdo it. Take things slow and move forward at your own pace. Lack of energy. We totally understand that your aging body doesn't have as much energy as it used to, but don't let that stop you from doing what's best for your body. Stretch training is easy on your body and can actually make you feel more energized as it improves blood circulation, which can help you feel more alert and awake. Now, let's look at some of the dangers of stretch training that you need to be aware of. Not warming up. Imagine your muscles like rubber bands. If you try to stretch them when they're cold, they're likely to tear or even snap in two. But if you warm them up first, then they're going to be able to stretch farther and won't break. In the same way, if you jump right into passive or isotonic stretches without warming your muscle-ups first, you could easily damage your muscles. Improper stretches. If you move your limb the wrong way during stretch training, you can put too much strain on the joint or the muscle, which can lead to an injury. This is why it's best for someone who has never regularly done stretching training to find a trainer or teacher that can help them learn the correct way to stretch in order to avoid this risk. Falling. This is a common concern with the aging body, as falls are more dangerous and more likely as your balance can become impaired with age. Although this is a legitimate danger during stretch training, as some stretches do require balance, there are plenty of things that you can do to minimize the risk, such as using a wall or a sturdy chair for support, or working with a strong partner that can help you.